August 21st, 1922. Dear Mama and everybody, recently Yvette had a spell on her and played our Victrola for several days, and among the pieces she played was our Mother record, and for days afterwards the chorus of Same ran through my head continuously, and I promised myself that sometime real soon I would write you, so here goes. This morning, Lucy had a letter from Emma, which I saw at dinner while home, and was glad to hear that all of you were getting along nicely. Glad also to learn that Edith's boss was so that he could be back to work and relieve her of the responsibility which she had to shoulder while he was sick. She is too young and not strong enough for such responsibility, and I hope that she will not soon again be called upon to have to look out for so much. Emma's reports about the pleasant weather you are enjoying most of the time makes us almost envious of you, as we are now having some dreadfully hot days, and the nights are also hot towards morning. Don't know whether Yvette ever told you that some time ago they oiled 25th Street, which relieved the dust very much, and I hope that on account of this you will not find your rooms too dusty. We have not attempted to look at things there, but most every morning when passing, I look at the windows, or rather at the blinds, and everything always appears the same as since you left. Mrs. Lang ordered some feed this morning and told me that she just had a card from Emma and seemed tickled about same. Late yesterday evening, we went out to the cemetery and found that Harris had cleaned the lot, and outside of being and looking very dry, things looked very nice out there. Harris inquired about you. We have been expecting Alfred and Lil to drop ever for the last several Sundays, but if they came, we did not see them. Lil had said that they wanted to come over for a week or more when Alf would have his vacation, but we have heard nothing further about this. Stolzes have not yet returned, but today we had a letter saying that they had been tied up in Los Angeles account the strike, but were booked to leave there Friday morning for Salt Lake City, and would be back here about the 28th unless other unforeseen delays occurred. They have had a nice long trip, and I believe they have enjoyed same from all reports. From all appearances, I believe that the strike will be settled very shortly now, and I do not think that Mama should worry any about how she will get home. The dengue fever has been cutting up some here for some weeks now, but the last few days I have not heard so much about it, and I hope that the worst is over. It went real hard with some people while they had it. Others had it in a very mild form and got over it quite easily. I have tried to write the above conglomeration at the office here during times, and I'd hate to guess how many times I have gotten up from the typewriter. But this is nothing if only I could have kept my thoughts together so as to have gotten up a decent letter. But this will have to do, otherwise I guess you would not get any at all. I am going to close now with the best of love to everybody from everybody, and an extra big share for Mother. Lovingly, your son, Gene. Just like the other letters I've covered, I want to take some time to talk about it. You might think that I couldn't find out who the author of this letter was, since there isn't much information to go off of. We know his first name, where he was living in 1922, Galveston, Texas, and we have a bunch of names with no relation attached to them. And the letter isn't part of a set. At first, I thought I'd hit a brick wall, but after a bit more sleuthing on Find a Grave, I actually uncovered the identity of this mysterious Gene. His full name was Eugene G. Rosenthal, and that name is actually connected to the letterhead. You see the big Stolz and Peterson typed out, and if you look above that, you'll see that there are actually 3 people listed. R.A. Stolz, J.P. Peterson, and, what do you know, E.G. Rosenthal. It might have been faster if I had searched that name first instead of searching for men named Gene who died in Galveston, but oh well. Through Find a Grave, we find out that Gene was 44 years old when he wrote this letter, and died in 1967 at the age of 89. We also find out who some of the other people were that he mentioned. He was writing to his mother, Elizabeth, who died in 1938. Alfred was his brother, and Lil was Alfred's wife. Emma was his sister, Lucy was his wife, and Yvette was his daughter, who would have been 14 years old in 1922, and she died in 2002 at the age of 94. Okay, so with all that genealogy out of the way, let's talk about some of the stuff mentioned in the letter. The first paragraph is mostly just family stuff, and I couldn't find anything definitive about the Victrola record mentioned. Mother might be a shortened version of a longer title, and not knowing the exact year makes it a bit hard to narrow it down more. The little detail that Gene mentioned about the roads being oiled stuck out to me. That's probably because I don't know anything about cars, infrastructure, and those kinds of things, so it was interesting to learn that oil was put on roads back then to get rid of dust. Well, actually, oil is still put on unpaved roads today for the same purpose. But there were a lot more unpaved roads back in the 1920s, so this would have been more common. This is why I like reading old letters like this. Sure, I could have looked this kind of thing up, but these small facets of daily life are things that we don't often think about, and things like this make you understand some of the minor annoyances people had to deal with, like your rooms being dusty from the roads outside. Another example of something I learned about here came from the mention of a strike. Labor history isn't one of my strong points, but figuring out the context of this letter made me look this up, and sure enough, there was a massive strike in the spring and summer of 1922 called the Great Railroad Strike. It didn't just affect Los Angeles, but cities all over the country. It started over a wage cut, and union members voted to strike. The whole thing was pretty messy, with companies sending in strikebreakers, and 10 people actually died as a result of it. And one person criticized for being overly aggressive with the strikers was none other than Attorney General Harry Daugherty. Yeah, the same Harry Daugherty that would be involved in the Teapot Dome scandal. He connected labor movements with Bolshevism, which he detested. His attitude toward the strikers wasn't popular even within the Harding administration, with President Harding ultimately opting to not treat the strikers harshly, and to help broker a deal between them and the railroad companies. Gene was right that the strike would end soon, and it finished on September 1st. Then there was the mention of dengue fever. While this may seem like one of those old-timey illnesses, it hasn't been eradicated, and millions of people still get it every year. The reason many viewers probably haven't heard about it in modern times is because now it's mostly only found in certain parts of the world. But in 1922, there was a huge outbreak of dengue fever in Galveston, where this letter was written. And there were about 30,000 cases in that city, which was about 2/3 of the entire population. I know this letter was short, but because I learned some things from it, I thought it was worth sharing so others can maybe learn some new things. I have plenty of other letters to go through, and even though they're not my most popular videos, I like doing them because they're unique and can't be found anywhere else. And it's fun to do a little bit of research into what they're writing about. I can't tell you how many random things I learn from just browsing primary source materials that leads me down a rabbit hole. I've actually gotten a lot of video ideas just from that. Well, anyway, that's all for now, all you sheiks and gals out there, but stay tuned for more tales from the Jazz Age.